Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today, an April 21st edition, a solo rolling Monday morning. We've got plenty of things to get to. We're going to talk some SWBA playoffs, 8 games over the weekend, all game ones. We got a great Saturday, a bit of a snooze fest until Sunday night. We'll get to that, and then we'll also talk a little SP Top 25. Latest rankings come out here with, 2 weeks left in the regular season, so things are starting to make some sense. But let's start with Los Angeles and Minnesota, where the Timberwolves go on the road on Saturday night to beat the Lakers 117-95, taking game one of this series and raising, in my opinion, some major red flags. Now, look, if you're the Lakers and your takeaway here is, well, look, are we going to get 4 of 6 from deep from Julius Randle? Are we going to see 3 of 3 from deep from Jaden McDaniels? Are we going to see Naz Reid cook us for 6 triples and 23 points off the bench? Maybe not. Maybe not. But the big challenge with this Lakers team over the home stretch of the season, and especially once they moved off or when they brought in Luka, lost AD, and then were unable to really fill the center role. Remember when we made a big deal about Alex Len being somebody that they picked up on the buyout market? He played 3 minutes. And there's a very, very big concern right now for this Lakers perimeter defense. That's always been the big question mark, and I thought that was really well exposed. And I think it was also the depth, right? Minnesota can shoot, man. 21 of 42. Obviously, a big part of that was from big nights from Naz Reid and Julius Randle. Those are harder to repeat. Jaden McDaniels is a good three-point shooter, but the Lakers just looked lost very often in this one. Just an inability to get stops. The second quarter was where this game completely flipped, where the offense just seemed to go into osmosis, or not osmosis, but into autopilot for the Lakers, and they couldn't find a way to really instigate anything more. I mean, when you have your best player, LeBron James, a minus 22, the third worst on the team behind Austin Reeves, who's supposed to be your second best player, and Rui Hachimura, the lack of size for this Lakers team, while you wouldn't expect it to be a big deal against a Wolves team that doesn't have a big inside post man. I mean, look, Rudy Gobert took 2 shots all game, but the Wolves were able to get inside the paint and then work it out. The number of second chance looks, they had a ton of offensive boards in that second quarter, which really sprung to life this offense. The physicality inside was unmatched for the Wolves by the Lakers. And that's going to be, I picked the Lakers mostly because I'm riding on LeBron James, right? And at some point that ride stops. But for the last 20-odd years, you've been able to say, I'm just going to take LeBron and I'm going to end up in pretty good shape. Now, we talked about this with Rick last week. LeBron James has been eliminated in the first round of his postseason career twice, all time, since he entered the league. 2 times. Since he started making the playoffs in 2005 postseason. Those came in the last 3 years. Last 3-4 years. So I think there's a major concern right now because of the physicality. I don't think the series is over. But getting a road win in game 1 for the Wolves is huge. The question mark I have is what adjustment do you make if you're the Lakers, right? What do you go to that's a new look? Because you're still not going to suddenly find a guy that can shoot or that can protect the paint, right? You're not going to find a guy that's going to be pulling in, more than 8 rebounds. I mean, Luka Doncic is your leading rebounder with 8 boards. I mean, that's a major concern. Your starting center played 8 minutes, Jackson Hayes, which tells us you don't believe in him. That's going to be the biggest question mark. How do you make some type of adjustment that gets you into a position where you can stop the flow? Because this group on Saturday night just got to where they wanted to. They got inside, and they survived this game with a poor Anthony Edwards night, 8 of 22. He was not good as a shooter. He was 4 of 9 from deep, but he facilitated. And there's going to be a big Anthony Edwards night, scoring-wise. If everything else comes along, the Wolves, who afterwards, I mean, you have to love the confidence of Anthony Edwards saying, I'm not afraid of playing in Los Angeles because it's a snooze fest in there. There's no fear, right? There's no fear on Minnesota's side saying we've got to take down the Lakers. There's almost this desire to want to do it. And they did it exceptionally well in game 1. I'm nervous of how the Lakers make an adjustment. All right, let's head to our Sunday night game, which is the Warriors winning 95-85, a game where they ramped up to a 20-plus point lead in the first half, and watch that fall apart, dwindle down to 3. But this game was, I think, pretty much what we expected, at least from my viewing audience. Houston's offense, this was exactly what doesn't happen for them. They had no ability to create plays. They were scoring so very well in the second half to make this competitive because they had 22 offensive rebounds. They out-rebounded the Warriors 22-6 just on the offensive glass. Overall, 52-36. Where they got rolling was when they had the dual front court. I think it was when they went large with Steven Adams in there. I think they had Tari Eason in there. But Steven Adams +4. The Rockets played 8 guys. Everyone was in the negative except for Steven Adams because he had 12 boards, 5 of them on offensively. That's going to be the downfall of the Warriors is the size. And in this series, Houston can make a run if they are able to take advantage of the size. But the problem is their offense is so mundane. And the Warriors' defense with Jimmy Butler in tow has been fantastic. Has been fantastic in the second half of the season. It's part of this big push that we're hearing all the time, like 21-4, something like that. But Steven Adams made this game different. And so if you're Houston, you've got to find a way to keep that size. But the problem is it's one or the other. If you're Houston, you say we're going to beat you up with size, and we're going to go after you there. Or we're going to try to do our best version of offense, and that's with Alperen Şengün on there. And I don't think he can play next to Steven Adams because it's such a crowded front court. You might have to try it. But that's where Houston got back into this game, was just bludgeoning the offensive glass, which is where the Warriors have to say, okay, we won by 10, we were up 20-something, we got a quiet and then suddenly red-hot night from Steph Curry. He played 40 minutes. You got a great night from Jimmy Butler in 42. Podziemski was decent. He made some decent plays on the offensive end, some irrational confidence shots that went for him. But you're going to have to find a way for size. And Quentin Post is going to be somebody that you have to turn to. He didn't look great on the defensive or offensive glass. Kevon Looney tightens the floor. This is the Warriors' downfall. It's pretty much always been the Warriors' downfall, is that they don't have big size. And when it's Draymond Green plus Kevin Durant, you can do it. But when it's Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and insert who knows who, that's where this team's lack of size is really going to be exposed. How do you adjust that? I don't know that you do in this series. There's not a great one. Maybe it's the Jonathan Kuminga wrinkle, which you're probably going to hear about left and right. That is a way forward. But if you're Golden State, I'm almost saying, look, you want to have offensive boards, go for it. Because you know what we know is in the final 4 minutes of this game, when Houston needed to create some type of offense off of set defenses, and they weren't able to, we think we're going to be fine. And we think our offense, yes, Houston's defense is very good, but we think our offense can get to the looks that we want to enough in this closing moments of this game. If your only comeback in a game was offensive boards, while it's repeatable against Golden State, I'm not walking out of there as the Warriors saying that's a problem for us. It's just something we're going to have to weather. And if we can weather that storm, we know we're walking out of here with much bigger wins. All right, let's head to college basketball, where we have our latest SP Top 25, where Villanova remains at number 1. Virginia Tech jumps up to 2. Duke at 3, Alabama at 4, as Texas slides all the way out of the top 4. What does that mean? Of course, I've told you this many times. We've talked about it. The top 6 is really just the battle for who's going to be the number 1 seeds. The 4 of them come Hoopsteria. I'm most impressed among the elite of the Virginia Tech move. I've been on this train since I don't even know when. I know that others have not been, but at number 2 right now, I think they have been playing some of their best basketball. Travion Novick and Newly Cox have been absolutely outstanding. I don't think if you started the season midway through, I think you might have the 2 of them as they might be more seriously contenders for Player of the Year. I mean, that's how good they've been to close this thing out. But everything that Virginia Tech is doing has been very, very impressive to me. I think this is a validation of that, with them now all the way up there to a number 2 seed overall, which makes sense. I mean, 24-4, they've been on a heater as of late. They've been the best team in the ACC. Their 2 losses have been to good teams. The question mark around Virginia Tech was they can't beat good teams. They're starting to do just that. The rest of the way, though, nothing really stood out to me. I thought Iowa might have taken a little bit of a dip. Jackson State, I feel like, continues to get a little bit underappreciated despite their 8-game winning streak sitting there at 22. Feels like that could have been a group that was sitting a little bit higher up there, especially considering the fact that Maryland goes down on Sunday night there after the top 25. So that immediately ages like curdled milk with Jackson State there. But I think what we'll need to be watching as we get this final close to the season is two pockets, the 3 through 6 spot, right? I think Villanova's pretty much locked up the number 1 spot. I think they're going to be a number 1 seed come Hoopst area. The rest of the way, I just don't think that anything's locked up because Virginia Tech and Duke are probably going to go head-to-head. And if they don't, it's because Louisville sneaks in there. And then I think Louisville starts making the argument of saying, hey, we could be I don't think they'll win it, but we could be a number 1 seed. They shouldn't be, but they've been playing really good. So that's the first pocket. Villanova's a 1 seed. I don't think that's going anywhere. But what happens between 2 and 6, right? Who gets the other 1 seed? Who falls to number 2? Is that the end of the world? Not necessarily, but it's not insignificant to fall a spot. And then it's the second window that I'm watching is 7 to 12, or 2 to 3 seeds. Because there's going to be I've talked about this many times, there's so much movement that's going to take place in the bottom of the top 25, right? Where, the difference between who's at 20 and who's at 30, this is not a huge one. I mean, there's been so much interchange at the back half, the back 5 spots of this top 25, and there's been so much movement within the teens. So we kind of know those are going to stay. But I'm interested in who's going to go 2 and who's going to go 3, right? So right now, if you did it this moment, if you just went off of top rankings, right? Kansas, Texas, Kentucky, Memphis would likely be your 2 seeds. Louisville, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Butler would probably be your 3 seeds. Let's throw Georgetown into that mix because they've got a chance to play in the Big East Championship game, which I think makes a chance. I think that should end up with them being higher ranked than Butler. Right now, they're 12-13. I think we can call that interchangeable. So what's going to happen in the stretch run, right? Kansas and Texas, I think winner of that's probably going to end up getting a 1 seed. Virginia Tech, Duke, winner of that's going to get a 1 seed. Alabama, Kentucky, winner of that, if that ends up being our SEC championship game, that's going to be a 1 seed. Loser gets a 2. So that's 3 2 seeds immediately. Who's the last one? Is it Memphis? Is it Louisville? Is it Arkansas? I mean, Louisville's got a chance if they can disrupt things to try to jump in as a 2. That's the fascinating thing to me, is who ends up as the 2 to 3. Because I think that's when you start to be getting a little bit more favorable of matchups, right? 2-3 seed is a little bit better because, and especially if you can get it to a 1, that means you're playing, if we're just going off numbers, you get a 1 seed, you're playing one of Georgetown, North Carolina, Iowa, Georgia Tech, Utah, UCLA. One of those teams, 4 of those teams are going to be 4 seeds. If you make yourself into a regional semifinal, that's your matchup. That's a heck of a lot better than having to play Memphis or Louisville, Arkansas, Mississippi State. One of those teams that have been flirting with top 5 seeds at times this season, but end up not getting there. And of course, whoever's avoiding Iowa, that's what you want to do. All right, that's our show. We're coming back tomorrow morning. Tuesday's got a big slate of college basketball action. Michigan and Ohio State take the rivalry to the hard court, and Missouri, Texas A&M at 8:30. And then, don't look away because we got a triple header. CBS 10 p.m., UNLV Gonzaga, a little top 25 Mountain West action. All of that is our Tuesday slate. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll bring Rico in and keep talking postseason hoops as more of that rolls in here on Monday night. We've got Pistons, Knicks, Clippers, Nuggets. There's definitely a good series and a bad series in that. What the Clips and Nuggets are going to do, I think that's the best series. I continue to think that's the best series of all first rounds. And by the time we get Rico on tomorrow morning, we're going to be talking that to see what's going down. And then, of course, Pistons Knicks. All right, that is our show. Appreciate you all tuning in. We're back here on a Tuesday morning on SimWorld TV, the only place you can see the game, be the game.